Today on a Bearded Movie Guy looks at Warrior. It's an MMA movie, but it's so much more than an MMA movie. Let's look at what it's about. Brought to you by the Bearded Movie Guy. Hi, I'm the Bearded Movie Guy, and today I'm talking about Warrior. Warrior is a 2011 film directed by Gavin O'Connor, starring Tom Hardy, Joel Edgerton, Nick Nolte, Jennifer Morrison, and Frank Grillo. Let's look at what it's about. Warrior is about two brothers. They both grew up under a very abusive father. Tommy, played by Tom Hardy, left when he was 14 with his mother. His brother, Brendan, played by Joel Edgerton, stayed behind because he fell in love with a girl. Cut to a bunch of years later. Tommy's just out of the Marines and visits his father, even though he hates him. He visits him to kind of just rehash old times. Finds out he's no longer a drunk. He's almost 1,000 days sober and is really sorry for everything he did. His brother Brendan is now a school teacher who used to fight MMA. MMA is mixed martial arts, if you don't know. UFC, that's generally Ultimate Fighting Championship, generally. That's what people know it as. But MMA is mixed martial arts. Basically means all different types of martial arts. There's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's Muay Thai, there's kickboxing straight up, there's karate, there's boxing, there's wrestling. It's basically everything thrown all together to see what works best. Brendan's a teacher, used to do that, and he's gonna lose his house because their daughter had a heart condition. They had to borrow money against the house. They worked 3 jobs between him and his wife, and they just can't pay back what they owe. So he decides to go and do a local MMA fight just to get some money. He wins the fight, which is awesome, but this causes him to get suspended from school, and the only way he can continue to make money is to fight in these smaller fights that are in parking lots. They happen every weekend. They're called smoker fights. At the same time, Tommy is now working out in a gym back in Pittsburgh. He destroys the #1 middleweight contender in supposed to be a sparring session. He was supposed to just keep the guy warm. In other words, he's supposed to get beat on for a few minutes and make the guy feel good. And he destroys him. It goes on YouTube, becomes viral. Everyone all of a sudden wants to know who this guy is. This big tournament is coming up in mixed martial arts. It's 16 guys, and everyone fights until there's only one guy left. They don't fight all at the same time. It's not like 16 guys in the octagon at once. It's 8 fights, then 4 fights, then 2 fights to 1 fight. I think. Yeah. And Tommy gets invited to it. Meanwhile, to get back in shape, Brendan goes to his old instructor, Frank Campana, played by Frank Grillo, to try and get back in shape so he can win the smoker fights. While he's training, he gets better and better, and the guy that Frank Campana had set up to be in this big tournament, the Sparta tournament that Tommy's now going into, gets injured, and Brendan begs him to let him enter, because the grand prize is $5 million. That's only to the winner. You don't win, you get zip. And basically it's about how the two brothers both enter the same competition and meet each other again for the first time in like 20 years. That's all I'm going to say. This film is incredible. You do not have to like mixed martial arts to watch this movie. It helps, but you don't have to. This is Rocky for now. That's what it is. This story is as inspiring and as well filmed as Rocky is. And that's saying something, because Rocky is one of the best sports movies ever. The acting from Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton is fantastic. Tom Hardy looks like a beast. He looks like he has no neck. He's like walking around like this the whole film. And it's just like, he is so big and jacked. And he's so funny because when he was interviewing for the film, he said he'd never done any fighting like this at all. And he's a very nice British man. If you don't know, Tom Hardy's a very, very nice, incredibly gentle British guy. And he plays this big, huge, hulking monster, and he just destroys everyone. You really feel for Joel Edgerton. His character is trying to do the right thing. He doesn't want to go into bankruptcy. He wants to do the right thing. And he's just struggling to stay above water. The rest of the cast is great. Nick Nolte gives an Oscar-worthy performance as the father. There's especially a time when he falls off the wagon and it's just heartbreaking. Jennifer Morrison is very believable as the wife who just doesn't want to see her husband get hurt, but understands that they're going to lose their house and they have 2 beautiful daughters and they don't want to be on the street. And Frank Grillo as Frank Campana is just freaking awesome. This is the first movie I ever saw him in. I've seen him since in Winter Soldier and a few other films. He's a really good actor, and he totally plays the part of a coach perfectly. This looks great. All the fights look realistic. Everything looks believable. I've watched a lot of MMA. I love MMA, so it's okay. I understand. what they're doing is real. It's as close to a real fight as you could possibly get without killing each other. The direction from Gavin O'Connor is really, really well thought out. The montages and the mix of music, they use Beethoven and they use like different boxes on the screen to show what's happening to each person, and it's really, really believable, and it looks great. And it gives you a whole lot of information fast. All in all, I love Warrior. It's probably one of the best films from 2011. I can't recommend this film highly enough. I give it 5 beards out of 5. It's easily got to be on my top 7 best sports movies of all time. It's incredible. It hits you in the feels. So let me know, have you watched Warrior? Are you going to watch Warrior? It's really worth watching. And what's your favorite sports movie? Subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching. Stay bearded, everyone. You've been watching The Bearded Movie Guy. He loves Warrior. It's such a good film. Check it out. And as always, YouTube Sebla.